were kind of sussing out this pocket. We knew we wanted to buy something in this pocket because of infrastructure that was coming and that kind of thing. And as quick as they were being made, they were being sold. And I got to the point where I said to him, we just need to find one and we just need to commit.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And what's the one thing I say to you pretty much every week, aside from, clients should get a pre-approval? I'm like, I love my commercial property. It's the one property I don't think about.
Yeah.
Dollars on our mind. Ideas all the time. We might get distracted, but we're building wealth just fine. This is dollars and distractions. If we went off track, just know we're coming back. More money, more mindset, no holding back. Dollars and distractions.
Talking about.
Do you notice how whoever starts, the other person has to do
I just had to think about that.
Yeah, and then you just said, I forgot what we're talking about. And I was like, over to you.
I'm like, I need you to say the topic because I don't know.
So today, we are talking about commercial investing. And before we get stuck into it, I just want to do a quick, everything we talk about on today's podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and none of it is advice.
Absolutely.
I think that's really important. And to be honest with you, everything we always talk about on the podcast is just for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, and just our opinions.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. We have opinions.
We do.
And I guess the whole idea of this whole podcast is to get people to be thinking about things that may never have even come across their desk, but it may never have been exposed to.
Yeah.
And then hopefully people can go, that actually sounds good. I'll research more and see if that suits me, or actually, no, that doesn't sound good for me.
Yeah, and I suppose there's a bit more talk about it too at the moment about things changing government-wise, and that's where, well, probably more for me too, I've heard more about the commercial space lately.
Because you're sitting next to me.
That, and I think there's talk of, things changing, negative gearing changing, self-managed super funds.
Yeah.
What you can and can't purchase in a self-managed super fund. The fact people, you've taught me what you can actually do in a self-managed super fund, which you wouldn't be privy to generally.
Yeah.
Unless you have someone who's done it, or a person in a particular field, which pushes commercial more into that space now.
Well, so I thought we'd start with, let's say, for example, and assume, let's take you back to 12 months ago before you started working for 360 Mortgage Solutions.
Mm-hmm.
If someone said to you, I'm looking at investing, what is your first thought?
Yeah, you automatically go to resi. But also too, I think coming from the bank world, you have very prevalent roles, right? So you've got a home lender, you've got a business banker, and you've got different roles.
Yeah.
We weren't so much in a residential, like a home lending space. You wouldn't.
You don't really talk commercial, you're not exposed to it, you don't think about
unless it's more of a reactive thing than a proactive
thing.
So
if a business owner came and said, I need a commercial premises, you're like, okay, go to the
Meat
commercial
bomb.
bank. Meat bomb. Bob will help you.
He's happy this week, huh?
No, but you're spot on.
Yeah.
And I was very much the same. And I think we are even in the finance industry. So if even people within the finance industry aren't exposed to these different worlds and don't know, then you don't know. Then clients who aren't in the finance industry are absolutely not exposed to these kind of things.
Yeah.
So I think the other question I wanted to really cover off on today was more about, we'll have to edit it because I've had a mind blank. Was more about why we think people will go straight for the residential or the share market. In my opinion, they're the two most common. When mum and dad investors go, right, we want to start broadening our investments and building our wealth, they'll go, we need an investment property or we need to buy shares.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why not commercial?
I think generally for general people, and I'm not saying like mum and dad people, I don't think commercial is something that you think as being an option to you. Like I know myself, like 12, 24 months ago, like I'd be like, oh yeah, there's commercial space, but it's not like something easy enough for me to get into. You know, you'd think I'd have to be a business owner or a, you know, like you just, plus you wouldn't know where to start. I wouldn't have known where to start. Who do I ask?
What kind
it's
of
a different
property?
real estate agent. Like
all
the people
and
that are
they are very different to residential.
Yeah.
Very
But if you're not exposed to that, I don't think you'd know where to start.
I think for me too, back in the day, I thought that you needed like millions.
Yeah.
You know, we did the tour of Logan yesterday.
Which is really cool.
Oh, it was so cool.
Yeah.
And it was, if you haven't seen the reel, it's more just a lay of the land, what's coming in Logan.
Yeah.
We got a tour guide take us through. Jason was fantastic.
Yeah.
In fact, he's going to be coming on the podcast.
We hope.
If he gets permission.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to be exposed to what's going on. But the numbers that he was talking is what I thought you would have to be having in your pocket to be buying commercial. So, you know, $50 million, $20 million, even $5 million. I was like, well, you need to have a 40% deposit, 30% deposit.
Yeah.
You need to be a business owner and have a huge income.
That's what would be my assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just narrowly what I thought you needed to buy commercial.
I also think too, I think we're driven a lot by what is being told to us in social media and things like that. So I think even in that space, it would be, I think, same for you. Yesterday was very eye-opening to me how much infrastructure and housing is coming, because if I had just gone off what I thought was occurring, we're short, and we are short. Like we have a lot of people coming in, but I didn't realise there's that much going on. Like so much.
It kind of blows your mind to see how much land has been pre-booked for developing, and we're still short with
and the
homes.
quantity. Like we looked down one row, remember, and there was like easy 200 townhouses in a row. Like I haven't seen anything like that ever before, to be honest.
And we're still short.
Yeah.
There's still not enough properties.
But in my head, I would have thought, like, from what I, last week I would have thought, man, we got no houses and whatever.
Yeah.
But it is coming, and especially as well going through those, the commercial space.
Right.
I'm learning too that that's what we need.
Well, when Jeremy and I were looking for a commercial space to buy, we were looking at Redland Bayway in an industrial pocket, and honestly, they were being made and sold as quick as you could imagine. Yeah, it got to the point where I said to Jeremy, we were kind of toying with the idea, hadn't really, aside from the office, hadn't really purchased commercial, hadn't done much in the commercial space, and to be honest, and this probably comes back to one of the reasons people don't think about commercial is I was scared. Yeah. It's foreign. I think
what you don't know scares you though. Yeah. Like when you don't know.
I was like,
we do a lot of purchasing of homes and it becomes, not a lot, but you get, subject to, that's just a normal transaction. Yeah. But I think commercial space, I'd be like, even myself in this industry, I'd like, I will buy a commercial, but
yes, you will.
At that time, if I didn't have you, I'd be like, oh, what do I have to look at here? Yeah. Do you know what's extra that I need to...
It feels so different. Yeah. That you're like, oh, goodness. Yeah. And I remember getting to a point with Jeremy that we were kind of sussing out this pocket. We knew we wanted to buy something in this pocket because of infrastructure that was coming and that kind of thing. And as quick as they were being made, they were being sold. And I got to the point where I said to him, we just need to find one and we just need to commit. Yeah. And that's what we did. And what's the one thing I say to you pretty much every week? Aside from, clients should get a pre-approval. I'm like, I love my commercial property. It's the one property I don't think about. Yeah. So again, everything we talk about is for educational purposes only. But so let's talk about the pros and cons. Yep. So pros to a commercial. You had a conversation with someone.
On the weekend. Yeah. And they weren't aware. And like we said this morning, you'd have to write it in. But it's more common to have the tenant of a commercial property to pay for, the expenses. So like rates, insurances, water. So when you're looking at a listing on commercial, so, realestate.com, but the commercial version of that, it will say it costs this, it will say, for lease, the lease is this much plus outgoings. Yeah. And that plus outgoings is your rates, the water,
body corporate if there is.
Yeah.
You know, all those things that as a landlord you get that in the mail each quarter and go, oh, I've got to pay my rates, their rates.
Or when you're considering a residential investment, you do have to take, okay, yep, can I afford the home loan repayment? But what else comes with that? I've got to pay the rates every quarter. You know, I've got to pay for if there's maintenance on the property or extra, you know, where we're just prone to think like that. There's extra
Correct.
to something, but with commercial, that's a pro.
You just need to be able to look at, can I afford that repayment on
Yep.
the loan?
Yep.
I absolutely love that about that. I think the other pro I have found is you typically will get a longer term lease.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah.
So I think about that property we bought, business moved in there. And as a business, you don't want to be, as a tenant, and you may not want to be moving house every year or so, but you have that flexibility to move.
Yeah.
As a business, you've got almost like your community, especially the type of business, depending on the type of business. You don't really want to be updating with Google your address every 5 minutes. You don't want to be changing all your clients, by the way, we've moved.
Just depending on what your business is, if you've got equipment and things, you don't want to keep moving.
Correct.
And you probably set up a space in a commercial.
And this business, actually, when they moved into it, it was a brand new warehouse style with a mezzanine.
Yeah.
They fitted out the mezzanine. They put air conditioning upstairs.
But they paid for it.
They paid for it all,
Yeah.
and they're welcome to take it all when they leave.
Yeah.
But they're probably not going. You're not going to pull down walls because you're leaving.
Yeah.
But also, that to me is an indication that they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, it's harder to move than a residential property.
Absolutely. Now, after they've fitted it out, they don't want to then go and pay to fit out the next one every year.
Which is pretty, like talking to Jace yesterday, that was something I learned from him too, you know, well, he sparked that obviously if a business is starting off, then, and they do grow, there's a lot of sort of opportunity there for commercial comes in all different sizes too.
Correct.
So what are you going to invest in? Like, and as it is, like with self-managed super funds changing in terms of not being able to invest in residential, but commercial is now becoming more spoken about for that reason. It will become pretty saturated.
So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, why are we talking self-managed super fund residential? So just recently, there was a deal done with Labor and the Greens, or the Teals? Greens, thank you. For them to pass the new budgets that they want. The Greens said, well, then you need to take lending for borrowing money for a residential purchase in your self-managed super fund off the table for people.
Yep.
So the cutoff date for that is the 10th of August. Effectively, that means if your super fund has enough money in there, you can purchase with cash, but you cannot go and get a loan for that.
Yeah.
What they didn't take off the table is commercial.
Yeah.
And so I think for anyone, and you need to seek
Financial advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that's not our
And it wouldn't be
domain.
for everyone.
It's absolutely not for everyone. But for the people that suits, if a self-managed super fund is suitable to you, it just means that, yeah, potentially a residential property isn't the right avenue.
But also bringing that back, self-payment, like if you don't know that, you can manage your own super. You know, a self-managed super fund is taking it from the industry super and controlling it yourself.
It's so funny.
Very restrictive.
Because I remember when I worked for the bank,
Yeah.
and we were taught to say to clients who have or are talking about getting a self-managed super fund, because the bank had pulled out of self-managed super fund lending.
Yeah.
So we were trained to say to them, do you have enough time to manage your own finances, let alone a self-managed super fund, and basically talk people out of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because it was something that we didn't offer. So they were like, wait, hold on. We weren't programmed to talk people out of it, but we were programmed to think that it was a bad thing.
But funny though, because it is a topic, bank days where you would ask people their financial goals. There was a superannuation investment section, and 9 times out of 10, people would not know where their super is, right? Because it's to me, we're not taught about
I was just
super.
about to go, are you serious? But then I think back and I'm like, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have known where my super was.
Kids, like at certain ages,
I only
you don't
care
really
now
care.
because I'm 40.
Right, it's right, but you don't take an interest in it as much. But to know, yeah, like now in our 40s, I'm going, okay, well, we can manage it ourselves. We don't have to do that in an industry super. But I don't think that's something that's very widely known.
And I think another thing that may not be widely known is, so Jeremy and I were able to combine our super balances. And so we opened a self-managed super fund in a new name, combined those two balances, and then all of a sudden we had enough for a deposit with cash left over for just in case. So, you know, there might be someone who's sitting there going, well, I've got $100,000 in my super, that's not enough. But then if you and your partner,
but you can borrow as the super. There's actually
all
may not know.
really cool, crazy things you can do with super. Again, you need to get legal advice.
You absolutely need to get a financial planner.
But it's really cool. But and then I think we need to touch on the cons of buying commercial as well, though, because there absolutely is. So first of all, I will tell you, if it's super or just commercial straight up, it's going to cost more. So there's no hiding.
Cost more to set up.
Cost more to set up with your accountant. We factor in for those extra costs, absolutely, but it costs more.
Con is it's saturated. Like, you know, if you don't have a lease on, it may take a while to get a tenant in that property.
So I think
not like a residential.
How long did it take us? I think it took us 5 months.
So in that time, then you have to be able to service that loan.
Well, we're paying
without.
Well, so we did it in our super fund. So the super fund is paying a loan out of the cash we had left over, our reserves. And it was fine, but it got to 5 months, and I know old Jeremy was like, "Hey, how's that going? Another 5 months of this, and that's a problem."
So it may not be as easy to rent.
It isn't as easy to rent. So whilst you do have that, not guaranteed, but more likely a long-term tenant as opposed to a 12 to 2 year tenant and then next, it can be a long time between drinks. Yeah, that is a risk.
And I think coming into that now, where I feel like commercial is going to be it'll take off.
I agree.
Because of that changes in the what you can invest in and what you can't type thing, that will saturate. I think it'll saturate a certain size of an like commercial property as well. Because most mum and dad investors aren't going to go buy the biggest warehouse in the commercial lands. You know, you'd probably want to start off small because it is risky, it's scary. Not risky, but scary. It's daunting.
It is.
What you don't know.
It is.
But then if everybody buys those little, commercial spaces, who's filling them? So you have to be mindful, I guess, of your cash flow. As well. That's a con.
Absolutely.
Generally, with residential investment, you might be, in our market now, there's no shortage.
Well, you should, if your rent is set at the right amount, you should be renting it before settlement, really. Not before settlement, but like it settles and it's rented. It shouldn't be too long between getting tenants. In fact, it's sometimes how do you pick the best tenant because there's so many applying as opposed to commercial. We had one applicant and we took it, and no regrets, he's great, but we didn't have a variety of people to choose from.
Any other cons?
Another con would be if you're buying to buy the office that 360 Mortgage Solutions has, 360 Mortgage Solutions was pretty much the financial backing of buying the office. So because of that, the way most banks or some banks will structure it is they want a guarantee over the business as well. And when they're taking guarantees over people or personal assets like your home or your business, you do need legal advice. So there's also cost involved with getting that legal advice and absolutely understanding what you're signing up for.
So can you use the equity of your home to buy commercial?
Great question. You absolutely can. So there are some lenders that will say, look, if you're happy to tie in your home, then we'll do a 100% loan for you to purchase this shopfront for you to work your business out of. It has to be what commercial banks would consider an owner-occupied. So by owner-occupied, it's just like residential, where your business is moving into that new premises that you're buying. That's considered owner-occupied in commercial land. But you can. There's also other structures you can do. So for us personally, I didn't want to tie in my home, but we absolutely needed to use the equity in the home. So, there's different things that you can do to to still use that, but then not necessarily link them together. So that all your banking has to be with XYZ, also that you're putting at risk your home. Plus we were then able to, as soon as the equity grew in the office, we could then pay out that cash out loan, and now they're unrelated. The business loan is completely 100% what it should be,
Yeah.
and the home loan and everything is completely what it should
Separate.
be. Yeah, so that sounds really complex, but that's where we come into play, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we think of anything else that might be scary with commercial?
I don't know. I just think in people's head, like, I know maybe I'm just speaking from my own experience. I just think it's a bigger. Like, to me, it's like, it's funny, isn't it? Because we just spent a monzo on a house, but to me, a commercial property it just seems so big to me.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, it's just a bigger purchase.
Yeah.
It's odd, but I think it just has a fear around it that just shouldn't be there.
Well, I think too, I think that's a really good point, and I think something to be mindful of. And we talked about, you know, get the right advice, get legal advice, get financial advice, but have the right team in your corner.
Yeah.
So have a commercial conveyancer, solicitor. The commercial solicitor, not your everyday run-of-the-mill conveyancer, but a commercial solicitor, and I've got a great one because she did ours.
Yeah.
They can do leases for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, leases are something that
You don't have to know all about it either.
you need to, but you need to make sure you've got
Someone.
the right information in there, because when you go to sell, a commercial property is largely valued based on the lease.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you've got the wrong lease, or you're paying the outgoings because it wasn't written into the lease properly, all of a sudden the property's worth less.
Right? Yeah.
Whereas residential,
Yeah.
the lease, you know, we look at how much it's worth, but if there's a lease in place, it's almost irrelevant. It's not, but you know, if we don't look at the terms or anything like that, whereas a commercial property, it's all about that.
Absolutely.
So having the right commercial solicitor in your corner, also having a buyer's agent. Again, we know really great buyer's agents, but they know if you went to them and said, look, I need this for my business, or I'm a first time investor, I'm thinking this, they'll be able to help you with.
Which again, something I did after the meeting Lisa last week.
Yes.
She is a buyer's agent.
Yes.
Interesting to hear that she was 50% commercial, 50% residential, like being able to source properties for both.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that there would be buyer's agents to find me commercial spaces.
properties.
Yeah.
Yeah, there absolutely is.
Because I think too that's another daunting thing. Like looking at commercial for sale, you go, what is good? I don't know.
I think too, and this is something Lisa pointed out when we met with her for coffee. It was that it's not seen so much as a feminine thing to do, to be investing in, and this is so, I don't want to play the whole gender card.
Yeah.
But it does, like, I know when I first started doing commercial lending, I thought, oh, I'm not male and I'm not in my 60s. I thought commercial brokers were male and in their 60s, because that's...
But at the time they probably were.
Maybe that's where I got that impression from.
Yeah.
But, you know, even like, I've seen people younger than me in different industries who were doing developments that I was like, well, I would be way too scared to do that. How did they do? I think we pigeonhole and then think, oh, that's not for us because I'm female and I'm a PAYG person, you know, working for someone and all that jazz. Whereas it's absolutely not the case.
But again, though, I think that comes from generation as well, not just gender, but like we are. What's the Australian? Like the Australian dream is to
own your own home.
Yeah, but no one says commercial. Right?
No.
So it comes from your mum and like generally it comes from your parents. Like it's important to get your own place. Like I think that has always been pushed.
Imagine if you rented and bought a commercial property instead and had a whole plethora of commercial properties where you're not paying rates, you're not paying water and electricity and all that jazz.
Yeah, it's just not talked about as much.
Yeah, you're just building a different portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think as a young, say you were a young, or male or female, but if you're a young woman now that they are more independent, or I think they are, like there's more opportunities, it's probably not the first place you'd go to.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to buy commercial. You know, unless you had someone that you knew.
Yeah.
That was in...
How foreign would it have been? So I don't know about you, but when I first bought my house, I was telling everyone, I want to buy my house. I'm saving for my first house.
I suppose we were both those people. We were independent women who brought our own places.
Yeah, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
It was conditioned in me. I don't know about you, but you buy your house and then that's just what you did. It was never buy a commercial premises. And oddly enough, my parents did own a commercial premises for a while there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
They should have kept it. It would be worth a fortune.
That's hindsight.
Isn't that great?
Hindsight.
Yeah, hindsight's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
I guess the key takeaway, I don't know about you, but for me, key takeaway is don't just think, if you're thinking investing or growing your wealth, don't just think residential or shares, because there's a plethora of things out there that could suit you, like shop fronts. And
don't think you'd have to be a business owner to buy commercial, because you don't.
And then on that note, if you are a business owner and you're paying rent, maybe look at
a good accountant who can help you make that work for you in your own space.
Yeah. So I had a meeting with a client quite a few years ago, beautiful couple, and I was sitting in his office, and it was a big factory warehouse thing, and he said, 35 years ago I asked my accountant, should I buy, it went for sale, and he said, should I buy this premises? And the accountant said, no, the numbers don't add up. And he said to me, and this is his opinion, I don't know what the accountant looked at and what the figures were or anything back in the day, but he said to me, 35 years later, I've paid this much in rent to the landlord, I would have owned it by now.
Yeah.
And then I would not only have a business that is an asset, but I would have a
growing
building
asset
that is an asset as well.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know what the accountant, I don't know that conversation, and that's why I don't get involved in that.
Yeah.
But in my head, I would have been thinking the same thing.
Yeah. I suppose to end that, like, I think if people do listen to this podcast, I don't know if they do.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Rich.
Hey, Rich.
Hey, Maryanne and Bec. That's the 4 views we get each week, 4 listeners.
Isn't that funny?
I think we have, hold on. I think we have 2 YouTube subscribers, so please don't sell us short.
Get out. Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe it's my dad
those
and
2
Rich.
people. Probably is. Which is cute, by the way. Like, that your dad and they watch. Anyway, what I say, like, is that you probably people probably don't know as much that you do write commercial yourself, like here at 360.
Yes.
This is probably not something that.
Well, I've always been very first home buyer driven.
Yeah.
But someone's pushing me to do more commercial.
Yes. Yeah.
I do
but how
love
cool.
it.
Yeah.
I did a self-managed super fund. So I had a client who, went, self-managed super fund, residential, I want to buy property right now, before the cutoff on the 10th of August. And I remember saying to you, I'm like, I love self-managed super fund. So easy.
Yeah.
It is so easy. It comes across hard.
Yeah.
But it's actually, like, the numbers are a lot easier to stack up. It makes a lot more sense. The clients are a lot, because you're not pulling the money out of your bank account to pay, it's typically coming from your, should be coming from your self-managed super fund. It's not like, the accountant's costing me $2,000. They just kind of
paying out super.
Yeah. Well, I remember I said to you the other day, I love when I get bills for the super fund because I just jump on and pay it. It's not my money. It is, but I'm like,
it's like a different entity.
Yeah. Like, how good's this? I'm paying bills the day they arrive because it's not my money.
Absolutely.
That's the wrong mentality.
Nah.
But I'm not alone.
No, absolutely not. But I think visually too, some people are like that. Like, I'd be the same. You know, it's not coming from your household flow. Yeah, it's coming from the super.
The cash flow is a lot, as long as you structure it well. So again, legal advice and
good
financial advice, all that jazz. As long as you structure it well, the cash flow is not that tight, so that there's a plethora there. You're like, another bill, no worries. As opposed to in your cash flow of day-to-day living, when you've got a husband that likes to buy a lot of hunting toys at the moment. But let's be honest, it was fishing, now it's hunting.
Might go back.
It will move on to something else that's just as expensive, no doubt.
No digs.
At least he's buying things for me now.
Yeah, pink guns.
Not the horrible one. Alright, so I think that's it.
That is it.
Thanks for listening, guys.